So who actually won the first Republican primary debate that was held in Milwaukee? Very curious from the voters, from everyone here. Who do you think did the best? So this was put out by the Daily Mail, which is, again, let's temper it with the fact that it's Daily Mail. They asked over 500 Republican voters, and here it is. Vivek Ramaswamy with 28%. Ron DeSantis with 27%. Very curious because he didn't do a whole lot. Then you got some just kind of randoms. Mike Pence with 13%. Tim Scott, 8%. I guess you win by saying less. Nikki Haley, 7%. Chris Christie, 4%. Doug Burgum, 3%. Asa Hutchinson, 2%. And 9% don't know. So really it ends at Mike Pence. And then the next biggest winner is people who don't know whether anybody won or who's even talking right now. But let's just talk about Vivek, because that thought about him winning this debate, that was echoed by voters who spoke with CNN. Take a look.
Here's what I want to ask you about. Who you thought did the best during this debate? Basically, who do you think won the debate? I'm going to do it in alphabetical order to be fair. Anyone think Doug Burgum did the best? That's 0. Anyone think Chris Christie did the best? He certainly got most of the airtime. A lot of the airtime, not most of the airtime. How about Ron DeSantis? How many of you think Ron DeSantis did the best? That's 2 people. How about Nikki Haley? 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Asa Hutchinson? Mike Pence? 0. Vivek Ramaswamy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tim Scott? Okay, so this panel here thinks Ramaswamy won the debate.
First of all, can we just remark on how non-diverse that group of voters is? It's like one brown guy and like a woman, maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple in there. Anyway, so Vivek Ramaswamy winning, not just according to the Daily Mail, but now according to CNN. And it speaks volumes, not just for Ramaswamy, but also for Ron DeSantis, who technically is second in polling and continues to be so. But it seems like Ramaswamy, for all of his bluster, for all of his try-hard Trumpism, came out as one of the victors. And he actually was also one of the targets for a lot of people. If you guys didn't watch, again, we cannot show clips, sadly. Ramaswamy spoke a lot. He spoke loudly, clearly, lots of smiles and lots of harebrained and weird ideas. And he was sort of chided by some of the Republicans who have far more experience / some, if any, experience at all. The best line of the night, gotta hand it to Chris Christie. He said, quote, "I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT," Christie said. He then compared Mr. Ramaswamy's frequent mentions of his skinny frame and odd last name to the rhetoric former President Obama used when he first vaulted onto the national political stage. Quote, "And I'm afraid we're dealing with some of the same type of amateur," he said. Now, I don't know what you make of that, Sharon, but I love the ChatGPT line. It does feel like Ramaswamy has sort of digested all of the Republican talking points and sort of spit it out in kind of his branding, his like sort of entrepreneurial, like model minority branding. But then comparing him to Obama, it's like, yeah, but here's the thing about Obama. He was president for 8 years. I don't know if you want to tell my dude he reminds you of Obama, because that's kind of a compliment.
Yeah, it is, and you heard Vivek's response, or maybe Chris Christie kept going with the bluster, saying, "Why don't you give him a hug like you did Obama?" Vivek is a pick me, okay? That's pretty clear, as my daughter would say, "Pick me, mommy," and that's just the way it is with him. But I do think we have to be careful, because there was another poll of 1 that he also won, and I don't think, if he's not locked up inside the Fulton County Jail for violating the terms of his bail, Trump may pick him. Trump may pick him to be. Stranger things have happened, and this time Ivanka and Jared won't be putting something in his Diet Coke that makes him pick Pence over somebody else that he wanted, like Newt Gingrich, and we could end up with a ticket of just sheer buffoonery. Buffoonery.
Yeah, I mean, if RFK Jr. doesn't steal it from him, but I think Vivek, it seems like a lot of voters, young voters, Republican voters, I guess, are excited for him. Again, all of this is tempered by exactly what Sharon said, which is Trump is going to be the nominee. All of these people are losers. They just don't want to lose the hardest. They're all fighting to lose the least hard. And so, you had Mike Pence and Vivek Ramaswamy get into it a lot. There was some words back and forth. There was Nikki Haley that said that he had no foreign policy experience, which, to be fair, he does not, and she was former ambassador to the UN. But I want to just go to his last, this is graphic 12. He said this a couple times, but here was his last statement that sort of encapsulates the kind of vibe that Vivek Ramaswamy is bringing to the Republican presidential primaries. He said, quote, "God is real. There are two genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to man. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty." If there was a more 1984 quote in the entire debate, I don't think you could find it right there. Up is down, down is up. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty, absolutely. No one has ever been waiting in a line under capitalism for the fossil fuels that you just love. No one's waited in line for those, remember? No one has been deprived of food or shelter or, I don't know, heating in a blizzard in Texas thanks to capitalism and electric companies completely like swindling the American people. But this is fun. Sharon, I just want to focus on this one line, which freaked me out because he said it, I think, 2, if not 3 times. Ramaswamy said, "The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to man." Now, as someone who effectively is in a nuclear family, I have a husband, I have a child, it's a heterosexual relationship, that scares me because if my husband ever said that to me, I would divorce him immediately. Like, this is basically saying this is a form of control on women. When you're talking about governance in a nuclear family, you're not talking about the man. You're not talking in a heterosexual relationship. You're not talking about a husband. You're talking about a wife. You're talking about a mother. You're talking about if we control women and their bodies, which Republicans are hell-bent on doing, we control the world. And my question is, bro, how many inches does it grow? Okay, seriously, it's not gonna grow on you, honey. You could entrap us in every unhappy relationship and marriage you want. It's not gonna grow, I can't swear. But Sharon, what do you make of this?
I'm just writing something down for the prenup. Do not say governance, nuclear family. You're exactly right, okay? This guy is spitting out, like you said, these talking points. I don't know anything about his background in the way that we know about Donald Trump's and all of the accusations in the past and grabbing women and Access Hollywood and that whole thing. But it is so antiquated. And I think that he is gearing up, as you mentioned, 1984 and rolling back time, moonwalking back in time. The next debate is in Simi Valley, California, okay? And we know it's there. And so I just think that he's doing whatever and saying whatever to get elected. But it does give me pause and even some fear that he is inspiring so many young Republicans who seem in that kind of cult-like way, that they will follow him wherever he goes, even if he makes no sense.
Yeah, it's the same, it's the male chauvinism. It's equating like the prosperity of the United States and the prosperity of the country and even one's personal prosperity with control over women. It's the Andrew Tate of politicians, right? I mean, he might not be as jacked, but it's like it's the Elon Musk, it's the Andrew Tate, it's the if we marry male chauvinism with unfettered and pig-headed capitalist so-called innovation, suddenly all the jobs are gonna come back to this country. No. None of that's gonna happen for you, homie. I'm sorry, it's just not. Like, and that's not how you achieve anything. Anyway, so it's good luck, Vivek, good luck. But now we know who everyone's taking aim at, which says a lot about your boy Ron DeSantis, who sadly, I mean, look, when they come for you, it shows you're powerful. Not a lot of people came for Ron DeSantis last night during the debate.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.